Hey there guys, got the final video here today on the AP900, and in this one I'm just going to be going over my experience with the rifle, having owned it for around 3 months now. I'll also go over a few of the mods I've made to the rifle, as well as showing you what it shoots like now. Right then, so I bought this rifle with my own money from the brilliant Crawley surplus store, and if you want 7% off anything in store or online, you can use my discount code, which will be in the description below, as well as a link to the store. I will say they should be getting some more AP900s in stock soon, so keep an eye on the website if you are after one. Right then, so with that out of the way, is the rifle any good? So I think the simple answer to that is yes. It is an absolutely fantastic rifle for the money. It does have its problems, but as long as you judge it relative to its price point, then I don't think you can be disappointed. It is regulated, it has a side lever, it's magazine fed, and it also has a few other nice features for less than £400, and I think for that it is a bargain. It is by no means perfect, but for the money it's a cracking little rifle. I won't go over my initial impressions again, but I did do a full out-the-box review, so I'll leave that up in the corner, and if you watch that it should give you a good idea of how the rifle performed straight out of the box. Right then, so the rifle itself is really quite nice. The first thing I want to talk about, however, is problems. So I've had two major problems with this rifle here. First one was related to the trigger adjustment. Now, when I got the rifle, after about 500 or so shots, when you pulled the cocking lever back, the rifle wouldn't cock. All that turned out to be was this grub screw in the front of the trigger, so just that one in there. That, after a little bit of shooting, vibrated loose and wound its way out. So to fix that problem, all I needed to do was wind that in slightly. Then I did also go through all of the trigger adjustment grub screws and just add a little bit of Loctite so they didn't come loose. That has worked absolutely beautifully for the last probably couple of thousand shots that I've put through the rifle. I've had no more issues related to the trigger adjustment, and it stayed pretty much exactly where I left it. The only thing I will mention in relation to the trigger is that I went ahead and turned the trigger into a one-stage trigger. I did that by just winding out this grub screw here, and I did that because I feel that the rifle works better as a one-stage trigger. So that's something I do on the FX rifles. So for those not aware, this trigger here is just a fake second stage. When you reach the second stage stop, all you feel is a small ball bearing in that grub screw there compress against a spring, then any further movement fires the rifle. I don't like that setup, so I just wound it out slightly, and now there's no second stage stop. That is purely personal preference, but I think it works better with this particular rifle. Right then, the second major problem I had with the rifle was the one that I finished last of all, and that was the finish. So the block on this particular rifle is a cast piece of aluminium, which from the factory is painted. Now this paint wears off incredibly fast, and it left the rifle looking a bit ratty. Now, it didn't affect the way the rifle shot in any way, but even something simple like mounting a scope would pull the paint off the Picatinny rail at the top. To fix that problem, what I've gone ahead and done is had the block and a few other pieces of the rifle Cerakoted. Now Cerakote is a really hard wearing paint. Lots of real firearms are painted using Cerakote, and this finish here will probably outlast the rifle. This particular colour is titanium, and it's sort of a silvery gold colour. It looks much better in person, to be honest. The camera doesn't really do it justice. And I had the coating, so the Cerakoting, done by this man here, Supreme Coatings. So I'll get you a good look at the man's business card there. And he's made a really nice job of it. I will say the Cerakoting didn't affect the fit of the parts. It doesn't clog up the holes, and I think it's transformed the look of the block. I did go through afterwards and laser engrave my logo and the model onto the block, And I've done that just on either side. So on this side you can see sub 12 air gunners, Snowpeak and AP900. Then it shows off a little better on the other side. So you can see that there. Right then, the next thing we'll do is run through a few modifications I've made to the rifle, and the first one was to fully strip it down, then rebuild it. I did that on video, so I have a full guide for this particular rifle on the channel, so if you want to see what's inside, I'll leave a link up in the corner. It's a super simple little rifle, and it does come with a full spare set of O-rings and most of the tools that you're going to need to complete the job, so it's a big thumbs up from me, as I think that's an absolutely fantastic addition to sort of a cheap lower end rifle. After that, one of the more important jobs was to sort out the accuracy. From the factory, the rifle was not bad in terms of accuracy, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. After a little bit of investigation, it turns out that one of the big problems was how the pellet was fed into the barrel. The pellet was being damaged by the barrel edge and a burr on the inside of the transfer port, and I did a video where I sorted this out on camera, and it's absolutely transformed the accuracy of the rifle. Shrinking group sizes quite considerably, this was one of those jobs that pretty much anyone can do, but it will take a little bit of time and a lot of patience to pull it off successfully. The next thing I wanted to go ahead and improve was the shot count. Now with the factory setup I was getting around 40 to 50 shots from a full 250 bar fill, and for general hunting or plinking that's absolutely fine, but it does get a little tiresome when you're at a range and just going through the mags. I did a full video on the new rifle setup, but essentially what I did was half the weight of the hammer and put a slightly shorter and softer spring in the action, then set the power using the transfer port puck. Now this was a great improvement to the shot count, and now I'm getting just under 100 shots from a full 250 bar fill, and when you consider that the cylinder is only 120 cc's of air, that is fairly impressive. The last major modification I made to the rifle was the shroud. Now the factory shroud did an alright job of quietening the rifle down, but the shroud and barrel tensioning setup was a little iffy. The point of impact would shift about a bit when shooting, and I'm pretty sure that the original setup was affecting accuracy slightly. Again, this was a really simple fix. I just made a new shroud to replace the original one. I did go for a fixed shroud rather than one that has a thread on the end for additional moderation, as I wanted to keep the overall length of the rifle down, and I think this one does a fairly decent job of quietening it down, so an additional moderator I don't think is needed. Right then, the last modification is not one that I've made, but one that I bought, and that is a new folding stock for the back. Now, the original one is all plastic, and it is a bit flimsy, so I went ahead and replaced it with a metal one. This stiffened up the back quite considerably, and it's much more stable to shoot from the shoulder. Unfortunately, the adapter, so the part in the back of the block, just this piece here, is still plastic, so it's not totally fixed, but it's much better than the full plastic stock, so I'm quite happy. As an added bonus, this particular one folds up at the back here, so you can just flip the butt piece up, and when you fold the stock over, you can see that it folds up nicely with a rifle, and you don't have the buttstock sticking down here, so you can put the rifle in a nice long backpack. Now unfortunately, when I bought the buttstock, I didn't actually read the overall length, and it is really quite short. So I don't actually recommend buying this butt pad setup unless you can make sort of a adapter that lengthens the butt pad quite considerably. From the folding stock adapter to the butt pad here is around 11 inches with a setup that I have currently, although that was around 7.5 inches when I first bought it. So really quite short. I don't think you could actually shoot this rifle just with the buttstock in place. I went ahead and just made an extender which bolts in between the adapter and the buttstock just to increase that slightly. As an added bonus, I did also put a fab folding grip on the bottom of the rifle, so when everything folds up, it does fold up into a nice narrow little package. And then putting the folding stock on this side does stop the rifle from being cocked when everything is folded up, so that's an added bonus, and that's why I've got the buttstock folding on this side rather than the other side which it folds on from the factory. Right then, so that's pretty much all the mods I've made to the rifle. What we'll go ahead and do now is take it down range and I'll show you exactly how it shoots. Right then, and here we are all set up in Pete's airgun farm, and I'm in the 50-yard range. At the moment I have a target set out at 30 yards, and I'm just doing some 5-shot groups. Now I'm only going to be showing a couple of groups on camera as I'm still not happy with the scope cam setup. To be honest with you, I think it looks a bit rubbish, but there you go. At 30 yards, the rifle will pretty much put the pellets through the same hole. For all of these groups here, I will be using the magazines. So the two that you get with a rifle are okay. One is significantly better than the other one. So I've just gone ahead and marked the bad magazine and I just used the good one. But I have recently picked up a Calm magazine, which seems to work just as well as the good factory one. So I'm just using them back to back. So that's pretty much it at 30 yards. If we move out to 50 yards, the groups do open up a little bit, but the rifle is still surprisingly accurate. For the most part, here I am just using JSB shorts. The rifle seems to like die 34s, although it will also shoot Barracuda 8s really well, so I do have a cheap pellet option if I just want to do a bit of plinking. All of these groups here were done with the rifle on a bipod and the stock in my shoulder, so I am a little wobbly, but the rifle is super easy to shoot standing as well. It only weighs around 2.1 kilograms unscoped, so it is really nice and light. And overall, it's really quite a fun gun just to sit behind and rattle off a few shots. But with that all said, that's pretty much all I'll show you. We'll go back over to the bench and we'll get a good look at the targets. Right then, so back over at the bench, here's just a quick look at the targets that I did on camera. These ones here were done at 30 yards, and as you can see there, pretty much all the pellets through the same hole in the middle. You do get a flyer every now and again, but I'm not worried about that. It is just shot straight from a magazine. And overall the rifle does really quite well. At 50 yards, as you can see here, the accuracy is still pretty darn good. With a 5p piece, and a 5p piece for those outside the UK is 18mm in diameter, we can just put that over most of the targets here, and pretty much all the pellets are at or under a 5p piece size. Which again, when you consider that the rifle is only £350 brand new, I think that's more than acceptable. So these groups here were done using die 43s, I think. The 34s were a little better, so all of these groups here were done using die 34. These ones here were 35s, and then these two at the bottom were done with heavies. So as far as accuracy goes, I am really quite happy with how the little rifles turned out. Right then, with that all said and done, that's pretty much going to do it for this particular video. Overall, the AP900 I think is an absolutely cracking little rifle. I honestly can't think of a better way to spend £350 on a rifle. I don't want to oversell it because it does have its problems, but if you are prepared to put in a little bit of effort, you can turn it into an absolutely beautiful little rifle for less than £400. But with that all said and done, that's pretty much going to do it for this particular video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been interesting or useful, and I'll see you in the next one.